G'day, legends. Welcome back to Roadside, presented by Zwift. We are here for our Tour de France lift out, recapping the first two stages of the Tour de France. We've just completed stage 2. It was an epic, as much as stage 1 was as well. We had crosswinds, we had crashes, we had climbs, stupid fans, and we had the best of the best going head to head on some nice steep ramps as well, Tommy. It's opened up big time. We've been watching on SBS. How have you thought? What have you thought of the coverage so far from the Australian broadcast?
It's been good. It's been reliable, hasn't it? And, they've had Caleb Ewan brought into the coverage this year, mate. I don't know how long he's going to be on the broadcast for, but it's been refreshing, They've got someone who's pretty fresh out of the peloton. So I think it's pretty good. I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, he's had some good insight. He's here for the first 3 stages, and then they'll bring in potentially another expert or former rider. In this episode, we're going to break down what happened in stage 2, run you through all the action, stage 1 as well, and then the talking points from the first, I guess you could say, 3 days of the first weekend of the Tour de France. And speaking of broadcast, by the way, Tommy, I did notice, for the US broadcast, they NBC. They run it. They brought Lance Armstrong onto the broadcast.
Did they?
So he's actually hosting it with Phil Liggett and I think Bob Roll or Bobby Julich, one of the OGs who's been doing it.
I did not know that. That how does that sit with you? I don't know about that.
Part of me actually likes Lance Armstrong and part of me hates him. So, it's bittersweet, but he does have some good takes nonetheless. And I'm sure the American fans would absolutely love it. What do you think?
Oh, it's such an American decision, isn't it? Get the biggest name, it doesn't matter about, grievances or the history or I don't know. Wow, that I did not know that actually. That's escaped my parameters. So
yes. Well, our Tour de France coverage is brought to you by Quadlock, who are our partner here for the Tour de France, along with FE Sports and Zwift. You can use the code Roadside10 to get 10% off. It helps us. Forget about the discount. 10% is nothing, but it's all about supporting the pod if you have the means to do so. Buy a Quadlock phone case. Get yourself a bike mount, golf mount, car mount. You name it, they've got it. And we're giving away a $200 Quadlock voucher. All you have to do to throw yourself into this mix is just comment on the reel at Roadside Cycling Podcast on Instagram. You'll see the reel, go and comment, and I promise you, listeners, we don't give prizes away to random internet people who comment on the reel. They may comment, but this is our competition and it goes to listeners. So even though there might be 1 million comments on there, I know it'll only go to a listener, Tommy. So make sure you get onto that and subscribe to the pod as well, because we'll be on every Monday, every Friday for the rest of the tour. But let's get into the meat of this, Tommy. This is Roadside, presented by Zwift.
Well, mate, we just saw stage 2 here for the FE Sports results recap. We love FE Sports here. We just saw a thrilling finale, didn't we, mate? My man, I picked him earlier on. We were on the live stream having a bit of a chin waggle, didn't we? And you said, Tom, pick a rider, stop sitting on the fence. And I picked Mathieu van der Poel. And of course,
picked 5 riders.
Yeah, and I narrowed it down to Big Van der Poel, and he took the chocolates ahead of your man, Tadej Pogačar. So there we go. I'm ahead on the leaderboard on stage 2. It was a pretty bloody good stage, wasn't it? We had a break that rolled out. The top 3, though, for the day, before I go into any more detail, was Van der Poel, Pog. Was it Vingegaard? He's written here.
Vingegaard was 3rd, yep. And then Gregoire, Romain Gregoire, the Frenchman, and then Alaphilippe, showing he's got legs too. Vauquelin was very aggressive. He went into the white jersey. The Pog took the mountains jersey kind of by accident on that second last climb, and Philipsen will swap his yellow jacket, because he didn't get to wear the yellow jersey today. He was in the yellow jacket. He'll swap that for a a green jersey on stage 3. But it was a filthy and wet start as well. We opened up with our live stream, which we'll talk more about later on. And we just both said at the same time, this is filthy. There was no coloured jerseys at the start of the stage. It was all black rain jackets, and it looked miserable. We saw Leknesund, Brent Van Moor, Amarai, and Fedorov all go on the breakaway and start working together pretty well. They kind of crashed a few times, and Alpecin and Intermarché controlled it. But that was the first half. Pretty boring after that. And once it got to about, I would say, 30 Ks to go, 35 to go, it really lit up, didn't it, Tommy?
Yeah, it certainly did. We predicted that it would at around that point, didn't we? Like we thought, there was a lot of talk of crosswinds once they got to maybe 50 kilometers to go with the intermediate sprint point there, but they've ridden the break back, or at least they got them to within just that striking distance. Didn't they have 20 seconds? I'm surprised they didn't just ride them back earlier. Anyway, they contested it for fifth, which we saw for quite an interesting little dispute, actually, with the intermediate sprint where Johnny Milan just spat the dummy at Bidim Grimet. he ended up having a big open-handed point to him and gave him an absolute spray, is the only way to describe it. So from
he
there,
loves it, doesn't he? He absolutely loves spraying people. He sprayed photographers. He sprayed fans. It was funny on the second last climb. He actually was spraying and hip and shouldering fans to get out of the way, and then he crashed like 2 minutes later. So imagine if he did the Superman Lopez, the punch to the fan. I mean, you wouldn't be getting up. Maybe old Super Cheap Lopez you would, but the 192 centimeter. Anyway, getting amongst it. It was an interesting battle there for that intermediate sprint. Then we hit the action. 30K to go. They hit that first real big categorized climb. It was about 1K, 10%. Wout started, and then UAE took over with Tim Wellens, who looked super strong. That caused a huge split. I mean, we saw Ben O'Connor. He was at the back of the bunch. A number of GC riders were out the arse because it was so narrow. And you kind of got a first look at who was going to be contesting the stage at that point. And then we saw it again on those next two climbs in the run-in, didn't we? Yeah,
we certainly did. It was actually interesting. The post-picnic SL DS set over the line. It was actually a good bit of production there, in the snippet. It was kind of like they slid it in. They said, oh, look, if you've made it over this climb, you're going to make it towards the end. He wasn't quite on the money, but he was close enough, wasn't he?
He was. It wasn't too bad. And to be fair, I mean, only Wellens and Wout had sort of started the pace. None of the big hitters had really gone yet, but it was a nice bit of production. I definitely agree with you there. And once they got to the final 15 kilometres, we had two more climbs, and it was chaotic. The peloton were just jostling for position. Kevin Vauquelin was just going crazy, attacking. He looked so good, putting his name in the shop window with his team. He's probably going to fold next year. And we saw Pog, Van der Poel, and then Vingegaard over the top of the second last climb. He launched the worst timed attack ever. Straight at the end of the climb on the flat plateau into a downhill with riders in the wheel. I mean, you just can't pick a worse time to attack.
He was rolling the dice. He was rolling the dice, wasn't he? He wanted to. He just thought, I might get a little gap here. I might sow the seed of doubt.
It was good. I loved seeing it.
I don't know if I did because
it makes me go,
but on the commentary on the call, they're going, this is the new Vingegaard, the punchy Vingegaard. And I'm like, is it? Or is this just a desperate Vingegaard who's like, I know I've got to take time on him?
Yes, desperate Vingegaard. I love it, Tommy. That's a very good call. The opposite of desperate was Tadej Pogacar throughout this whole sort of finale thing. He was constantly inside the top 6 wheels. He never went to the front. And you thought there were moments where the old Pog would attack, but he just sat back. There were gaps going. Van der Poel attacked with Vauquelin. He didn't chase. He waited. Navarrez came back. Then Almeida came back. He was very cool. And in that whole finale, the one thing I picked up from Pogacar, the way he played stage 2, was that he's here for yellow. He's not here for stages. And I think it was a really good example of that.
I don't know. It's a concerning factor, though, isn't it? The fact that he was isolated over that climb. If I'm UAE, once again, I'm looking at that and going, like, why is he isolated? Why is Narvaez not there? Where is Wellens? And where is, even Almeida, just to purely be on the same time?
Like 6 or 7 left, though.
You only needed a split to occur, say Jorgensen or Vingegaard or Remco. If they sneak away and they grab another 30 seconds or so, and they're able to roll the dice and put the pressure on Pogacar. So, he was cool as a cucumber, but I think he got a little bit lucky as well.
Fair enough. And then as we got closer to the finale, last 5Ks, there was attacks everywhere, which was really nice to see. Vauquelin, again, he just kept going. Alaphilippe tried. And it got to a point where there were just so many attacks, 600-700 meters to go. Mathieu Van der Poel just said, righto, I'm just going to get on the front. I'm just going to control this. And he just shut them all down. And then he just wound the sprint up with 400 to go. and he was too good. Pogacar was close. It was maybe half a wheel away, but Van der Poel, what a clinic. He looked a bit shaky yesterday, but today he showed he's in every bit of form for this Tour de France.
Yeah, how's this nonsense? I've heard this. Oh, he looks a little bit shaky, like you just said. I'm sorry, what he just did, and the fact that he mixed it in with a move as well. He rolled the dice. He tried to get away. He looks sound, my friend. He looks very good.
Stage one, though, Tommy, that his legs weren't good, and he was hoping that the efforts on stage one would open him up a bit. And
well, evidently they did.
They did, because he's taken the stage win, and he's taken the yellow jersey as well, which I don't believe he's worn the yellow jersey before.
Yes,
so
he has. Every time he has won a stage here, he has taken the yellow jersey. So he won on the last time that went over the Mur de Breton, and that's when he took yellow. So that was actually a little grab I just heard off Keno. He rattled that one out. I can't say I claimed that one. I just heard him on the broadcast wheel that out.
He's good. He's very good at that. And we were sitting there watching it together and thinking, when it was all kicking off, it's only stage 2, and there's a number of these types of stages still to come. And I guess some of the other players that were there and were sniffing, Remco was always there, which was good to see. He was there. We liked seeing that. Oscar Onley was up and about. Alaphilippe was there. Who else was sort of sniffing? Oh, Romain Gregoire. So he finished 5th on the stage, or 4th.
And
he
Enric Mas.
Very good. Enric Mas, the bin chicken.
Buitrago.
Yes, Santi. And I would say Nader was pretty critical as well, because he closed a big move down in that finale too. So
he got lent on, didn't he? He got lent on. The riders who sort of do miss, I've just got some of the results here in front of me who did miss that split. Ben O'Connor, Jack Hay, if you want to throw his name into it as well. Sepp Kuss, he missed out on that. But I dare say the biggest loser out of that is also Carlos Rodriguez, as well as Geraint Thomas. Alongside
he crashed with Bilar on that second last climb as well. Did. So they came together, and Thomas just loves laying it down, doesn't he? Doesn't matter where he goes. He just loves laying it down.
Oh, look, he's a man of style and elegance on the bike. But he that's this one. I think these sort of stages, and yesterday's stage is something that he'll quickly, forget and etch out of his brain. But you know what, mate, yellow will be won or lost by minutes, or by a minute or so at least at the end of this year's Tour de France. And those podium battles will be sort of similar, in my opinion, just with the length of the climbs in the back end of this year's Tour de France. It was an impressive stage, though, wasn't it? Hey, Alpecin, they're just so good. What a way to start your Tour de France. You take 2 stages, yellow on both days, 2 riders. And then to go, he can probably hold this until stage 5, that individual time trial Van der Poel.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's worth so much to the teams. And Van der Poel said yesterday after stage 1 that the team has achieved their objective. They've got yellow, so the monkey's off their back. Now they can cruise. So it's really danger time for the likes of Lidl Trek and Intermarché, who will probably be their competitors on the other stages to put the pressure on them. But stage 1, we'll talk about some of the things that happened in stage 1. Obviously, Philipsen won easily with a lead out. I mean, their lead out train, Tommy, it's not fair. I mean, we were talking about Lidl Treks in the preview, and I don't think Alpecin released their full team when we were doing that. But let me read this out for you. You got Jonas Rickard, who used to be the last man, I believe, in Lotto and a number of other teams. Then you've got Gianni Vermeersch. We know how strong he is. We saw him in the Classics. Then you've got Van der Poel in number 3, previously in the number 2 role. Then you've got Caden Grooves, your man, and then Philipsen gets delivered. I mean, if that is not the Postman Pat special, I tell you what, that's hard to beat.
Yeah, it's solid, isn't it? It's solid, but it's also reliable. It's the same lead-out train that they use, that they go to races. Maybe they're subbing out 1 or 2 guys, but it's the same sort of blokes that are just on the block every time that they need. It was surprising to see Caden become last man. I thought he might have become second last man, considering what we saw Van der Poel do last year and how good he was at it at the Tour de France for Philipsen. But it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, opportunities are going to go by pretty quickly at the Tour de France. They always do. And how often have we seen a couple teams just take 70% of the stage victories? So teams now with 2 gone and the puncher stages, they're just going to become few and far in between. The sprinters, the pressure starts to mount, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So they did such a good job, and we'll see what they've got on store for stage 3. Quickstep on stage 1 had a stinker. Remco said it himself. He said after the stage the team was asleep. They weren't prepared, and I couldn't believe it. He said that they didn't think there would be crosswinds when there were crosswinds. I mean, geez, even bloody Team Pulte Malta, who aren't even in this bloody race, even they would have known there's crosswinds. I just can't believe how a team that used to be renowned to be the Wolfpack, to be the Classics Belgium specialist, didn't know when crosswinds were coming. A bit embarrassing, and there was a video after the stage of Remco going straight back to his bus. This was stupid. I mean, some of the media outlets that posted this to make Remco look bad. He's a kid's waiting for him, with a bottle and a bit of paper to sign. He's gone, can you please move, please? This is right after the stage. So he's steaming.
Fresh.
And he's gone to get on the turbo to do his cool-down protocol. And there's kids everywhere. And then they cut the video. And then Remco himself got on social media later and said, I didn't just snub that kid. I went and waited another 20 minutes and signed his autograph and like hundreds of others. So, media, don't make me look bad. And that's just sad. That's the stuff that Remco has to deal with, and that was only stage 1.
Yeah, I saw that, and I just thought this is absolutely ridiculous. As soon as I saw it, I ignored it because I just knew there'd be something more to it. Remco they're all a bit the same, like just do your warm down, go through your process. He wasn't required for any podium duties, so he was very much just like prioritize my process. Cool down as well. And I think this is where having a good press officer comes into it, as well as a good director or someone who is there at the finish line. They say, Remco, just calm down, do this, get on the turbo. Don't, we don't want you facing the journos straight away because that's when you just let a few interesting sayings or a few words fly out of the mouth that you can't get back. So
yeah. They do. And this is why a lot of the riders don't want to do interviews with the media because they go and share shit like that. And how would Remco, it was probably Cycling News or Cycling Weekly or something like that. If they asked him for an interview, he would remember that. That'd be in the bank, that ticket. And he would go, no way. You can use ChatGPT like they usually do. Ben O'Connor, also on stage 1, had some bad luck crashing in that split, and he was saved by the 5-kilometer rule. He had terrible luck sitting at the back of that group and
really just trying to mind his own business. Honestly, he was like, I'm not competing for the stage victory here. I just want to roll to the finish line. I'm not going to mix it with Poggianonus. He just, maybe he should have. And then, I don't know, it was someone from EF who tried to squeeze through a gap when there's only 40 riders in the group. You're like, mate, just go around. And the gap just got closed on him. And, you saw the spectacular footage of Grooves, my boy, right behind it. And he does this big front endo, just grabbing the front brake, and he saves it. It's pretty spectacular. I dare say Caden's stock is growing after what he's done, even today. Helping with position with Van der Poel and Philipsen.
Yeah. So he's played his career so far like a blinder. He's just done so well in his career moves, the way he's raced and been open to race for others as well. He's going to be a very rich man and have a fantastic legacy. Now, FE Sports, of course, this was the FE Sports results recap. I just brought a new heart rate strap from Magine. They're good. Yeah, they're good. I actually lost the strap from my Wahoo. So I've got the Wahoo unit, but I just lost the strap. And I thought I'll try Magine. They're both FE Sports products. And for $60, mate, did the trick. Got on Zwift, raced the other night, worked perfectly, connected easy. The only thing that could be better on the Magine heart rate strap is making it USB-C like the new Wahoo.
So they just battery operated.
Yeah, the 2032 versus the new Wahoo Ticker is the USB-C, but it also is double the price. So, you got to make a call at some point to what's important to you. But we love FE Sports. We've got our Quadlock Tour talking points coming up right after this. All the juicy stuff that happened throughout the tour that needs to be discussed, Tommy. This is Roadside, presented by Zwift. So, Tommy, the Quadlock Tour talking points. Use Roadside 10 and get yourself 10% off any Quadlock product and go into the draw as well for our $200 Quadlock voucher giveaway at the end of the Tour de France. Comment on the reel. And also, if you think I sound like shit, it's because I think I've got Rona. It's just crept up on me right after the live stream, and it ain't good. But this is what we do, don't we, Tommy? We fight on. It's 12:15, and we fight on for you guys, for the audience.
Well, you certainly do, mate. I'd be a sook. I'd be sending you the email. I'm calling in sick on this one, mate. No, good stuff. Chapeau. I'll give you the pat on the back that you want. These talking tour points, mate. You've put down a litany of interesting things, but you want to hang your hat on the things you do for the singular mountain point and the polka dot jersey. On day one, we saw Benjamin Thomas and Matteo Vescher crash sprinting for the singular category 1 point. I'm about this. I love it. It's the biggest race in the world. You scrap that and you fight for absolutely everything.
I don't like it. I didn't like this because, first of all, they both raced it in such a poor way. Like, they're on the cobbles, and just the way they went about it was just terrible. If you're sprinting, as soon as they open the sprints up, both of their wheels were fishtailing everywhere. That should tell you, hey, it's got to be a seeded sprint. It's got to be a seeded sprint to get this done. But Benjamin Thomas, okay, he ended up getting the sprint or the mountain point, and then he crashed himself and Matteo Vescher as well in the process, and made himself look like a real gazza. Benjamin Thomas is an Olympic gold medalist in the Omnium, fresh from Paris. He had the French fans cheering his name during that time. He dominated. You're an Olympic gold medalist, Thomas. You don't need to be scrapping and lowering your colours for chicken feed like one mountain point when, hey, there's bigger things you could go after, like potentially getting the mountain jersey at a more, I would say, distinctive time in the race when you can actually hold it, because he's already lost it. So basically, he's crashed himself for one day in the polka dot, and I reckon he could have had a lot more, but he just threw everything at it. And I don't know. He's an Olympic gold medalist, Tommy. Come on.
I reckon he's got his sights set on tomorrow's stage 3, where there's the singular category 4 climb that comes at 146 kilometers into the stage. I reckon he's got his eyes set on that. He's going to get into the break and he's going to win that, and he's going to be back in the polka dot jersey for stage 4.
Well, now he's got Leknison who's sniffing, because he took some points today as well, and he's going around. So it's just, he can climb better than Benjamin Thomas can't outclimb Leknison. So he's going to have to do, he's going to have to crash him, won't he? He's just going to have to fold that wheel in half and take out Leknison.
What other sort of battles have you seen? And what other battles have you seen, mate, throughout these the first 2 stages so far? Like we've seen sort of little niche battles emerge. Obviously, we saw day 1 and day 2. Bruno Amaral, he's been in the break on both days. Obviously, he's going to go out there, get points. And I think he's waiting for a day that he wants to try his luck in the breakaway that might go to the line. Even today's breakaway was a strong breakaway. It was a strong quartet. I was just having a bit of a think, and I'm like thinking, when are we going to see a day where the break might actually have a chance?
Yeah, it's a good question. You need all the elements to be right. You need people to be in the break who aren't a threat to GC. It needs to be a stage that the GC riders can't get, and also a stage that the sprinters can't get, because then that instantly basically halves the teams that might be interested in chasing. So I think it's a good idea to maybe, when we do get down, when we see the results come through, because we are recording right after the stage, have a look at who lost a lot of time. And I'm talking 20 plus minutes. And I think our man Luke Plapp lost a significant amount of time on today's stage, and that ain't by accident. That's, he ain't going to be up the front on a stage like today, but he and riders like a few others that were down the back there, they purposely lost time so that potentially with this stage of rises, they'll be given a leash to at least have a crack. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, and we just have to wait and see how the race unfolds a bit more.
Yeah, we will. Last rider came in today. It was Davide Ballerini at 11 minutes and 16 seconds down. So I'm a fan of that. I like that. The boys, just the gruppetto, just even on the day like today, they just pulling the parachute and getting out of there. They don't need to be in the battle. They don't need to ride hard to the line. And I'll just a quick little Lanterne Rouge. Case Bowl is the last man on. He's the last man, the big man from XCS Astana. So we did what do we do for the Giro? We actually followed along with Jensen Plowright, and who was last man. So we might have to pick a rider and do the same. Maybe it'll be Plappy.
Maybe, but he'll have a stage win next to his name if that's the case. Tour gossip. We love a bit of tour gossip. This is actually not gossip because it was actually dropped today in a Danish media outlet. I can't remember what it's called or pronounce it. But Jonas Vingegaard's wife has done an interview with the Danish media. And in the interview, it had a range of things that were said in there. Puff piece, la-di-da. But then she criticised the Visma Lisa Bike team. And she said that there were too many altitude camps for the riders and too much time away from the families of the riders. And we know that Vingegaard and his wife have, they've sort of come to an agreement as to how he will race in the future after his big crash. There's obviously an element of tension there, I suppose, with how much, Vingegaard has to prioritize his job, which is kind of, you sign up for it as well when you get paid the big fat $1 million euro check. But one interesting thing of the article was that they actually stated that the team and Jonas's family, I suppose, they argued about how much of the kitchen renovation Vingegaard was doing by himself. They wanted to lay some floors, put some cabinets in, all the la-di-das. They just wanted to do it themselves. And Vingegaard wanted to do it himself as well. And the team didn't want him to be doing it and injure himself or, that's extra TSS. Everybody's got a drill and, that's just a piss take doing the housework, and handyman stuff. So it's interesting and it's a poor time for the Danish media to drop that during the tour.
It's crap. This absolute crap.
It's tabloid
stuff. Who cares, man? I despise this sort of stuff, And it's probably, everyone's going, oh, his wife's complaining. Some journalists has probably put the question to her, is Jonas doing too much? And she's going, oh, maybe he is, something off the cuff. And then someone's just absolutely ran with this comment. So, look, yeah, you got to look after yourself off the bike when you're doing big blocks and big training days, but you've got to manage real life as well.
Yeah, you want to do a reno, do your bloody reno, lay the floors, do what you like. But it is interesting when you're in the spotlight. It's one of the best riders in the world. Sometimes these things become a target. Speaking of target as well, Cofidis overnight in stage one, they lost. They didn't lose. They were someone stole, or some gangs must have stolen 11 of their team bikes, which are worth about €13,000, by the way.
Yeah, one of the most expensive on World Tour. They're right up there. They're easily. I actually think they are the most expensive World Tour bike. So they just had, I don't know, they had the truck locked up and some gang has come through, swiped 11 bikes.
Yeah, that has to have an inside man on the job. It has to. That is a mechanic in there for sure going, hey, I'll take €20,000 because I'm getting paid 60 and I'll tell you where the bike padlock is, and then you can go and take it. Like, it has to be inside word. How does someone roll up to a Tour de France truck, which is parked probably next to about 50 other trucks right out front of where they're probably staying, and then all of a sudden 11 bikes have gone missing? And often with these things, they're actually it's a very organized crime. So these bikes would have probably already had a buyer and they're gone. They're shipped, they're departed, the parts are sold to here and they're shipped here. It's real black market stuff. So we likely won't see these bikes again, Tommy, despite
gone. Gone. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely gone, aren't they? Inside job, you reckon? Yeah, possibly. I don't know, man. Who
this
knows?
Is the tour gossip.
This is absolutely. I can't believe it.
I'm so sick. This is bad.
Oh.
I would steal a look bike right now just to not have what I've got. But speaking of moving bikes, Groenewegen. There was some rumors last week, wasn't there? There was rumors last week, and they've kind of been doubled down this week about Dylan Groenewegen.
Yeah, so the Dutch sprinter riding for the Australian team. He's won a stage at the Tour the last 2 years. He's reportedly off to Unibet Rockets, which are a pro-continental outfit. And he is reportedly going to go there. So it's a massive step down from where he is at the moment. So it'd be an interesting signing. I mean, they're a prolific team, though. And to get a big name like Groenewegen would be an absolute catch.
They are banking Unibet Rockets. They are, because as it stands, there's no chance of getting any kind of wild card invites. But I think they are banking on two French teams been
collapsing.
Folding. We know Archaea are going to fold, and I think it's very likely after 2026, Total Energies will fold, and then that all of a sudden jumps them up the rankings, and they're actually all of a sudden not too far away, and the only wildcard team they'd need to sort of compete with is Q36.5. And if you've got Dylan Grunewagen for 2 years scoring points at real dog shit races against butchers and policemen working part-time, I tell you what, it's not a bad strategy. I just want to know, what is he getting paid? What is he getting paid?
No, he'd be on good money. He would be on, if not the same at what he's on at Jayco, in my opinion, because a team like that, when they want to step it up, they want to go to the next level, they have to get a rider like him. We saw that with Tudor, even Q36.5 with Pidcock. If they want to go to those next races, that's what they do. They go to the sponsor and they say, this is what we need to do. This is the investment that's required. And, if they get the funding and they spend it, they've got to go away and get the results.
Yeah, well said. Well said. We're going to pick our things that we're most excited to see for the rest of this week before we get started again back on Friday this week. Right after this, Tommy, this is Roadside presented by Zwift. So Zwift, we mentioned our title sponsor. They have the Tour Fever at the moment on Zwift. You can complete
just like
the
you.
climb
You've got the fever.
I've got a fever, all right. It is bad. But you can complete the Climb Portal Challenge on Zwift to unlock the DD Devil's kit, the famous devil, the great man DD, who dresses up the devil and jumps around like a hooligan. That kit is unlockable on Zwift, but you've got to pay your dues. You've got 4 climbs you've got to do on the climb portal. The first 2 are easy. The second 2 are your proper Alpine 90-minute climbs, your Col de Lolos, Col de Madeleine. It's going to hurt. So you've got to earn that jersey, and I've completed 1 already, Tommy. So this might knock me around a bit, but we'll see how we go. Riders who surprised you, Tom, after the first 2 stages, or rider who surprised you?
Look, on the first stage, I was surprised by Simon Wannerskill from Uno X. I was pretty stoked to see him make the podium. He was 3rd on the first stage. Really enjoyed seeing how they just had a large block of guys. I think they had 4 riders, including Wannerskill, make that selective split in the crosswinds and the big scandies. They just love that sort of condition. So I was stoked. I was surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. I was more stoked to see him get up there. Yourself?
Yeah, good call. I do like some Orange Gold. I liked Hershey on stage 2. He was sniffing around. I think he was top 15 on the stage, but he was always up there towards the front. So, we'd love to see the Hershey of 2021 or 2022.
Oh, yes.
The mysterious Hershey from back then. But moving on to the rest of this week of the tour, Tommy, what are you looking forward to for the remaining stages this week?
I'm looking forward to stage 6, to be honest, mate. Stage 6 into Normandy, into Veer. I reckon it's going to be a cracker. On paper, I reckon it's the hardest that'll be so far in the race. Itself is going to be just a punchy sort of stage all the way throughout with a lot of Category 3 climbs. Because the next 2 stages, well, not tomorrow night, but stage 4, we've got some real sort of puncher sort of style, where stage 6 could be a little bit more open. We could see a break go, so to speak. You?
Okay. I like it. I'm really keen to see the TT on stage 5. It's 30K. It's flat. It is the
big
proper
boy special.
TT specialist. I'm really keen to see how Remco goes and just how fast he can go, because he'll obviously be the big favourite, especially now that
he's favourite, yeah.
He's not here. He's got to be favourite. Olympic champ,
world champ.
He will start favourite, and let's see if he can take back some of that time that he lost on stage 1. Tommy, Friday, we're going to be back with our next pod, and we'll also pick a day to do our next Roadside Live watch-along, which was a great success tonight.
For all the punters listening, what's a watch-along? Jet had the great idea to pull up a Pro Cycling Stats page, put it on the live, and then we were just absolutely having a bit of dribble. It was some real 7:20 a.m. grandstand cricket sort of dribble, but it was a bit of fun. We had a few people asking some questions, so it's a great way. If you got any questions as well, hit us up. You got any predicaments or what you think is going to happen in the tour? Let us know.
And you can still watch it too. You can actually go back and see what it was like. There's 1.6 thousand people are tuned in so far, so there's people still clicking on it and watching it. So there's some real animals out there. But Tommy, it's been a good first tour lift out. I'm looking forward to the one at the end of the week. We'll see everyone then.
Ciao for now.